Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. You're watching Question Hour. Well, it's a unique show that gets you the latest of the proceedings from the Parliament House and, of course, questions asked by the members in the upper house and replies given by the ministries and departments. I'm your host, RAJAT KAIN, joined with my colleague KRITI MISHRA.
Thank you so much, Rajat. And as our viewers know, that our show focuses on all the important unstart questions asked by the members of the upper house. And in this edition, we'll get all the important unstart questions asked during the ongoing 253rd session of Rajya Sabha, or the first half of the budget session of Parliament. And Rajat, as you know, that Question Hour is a very important tool in India's parliamentary democracy, giving an opportunity to the members of Parliament to seek answers from the government.
Well, broadly speaking, there are three categories of questions: start, unstart, and the short notice ones. Start are the ones where replies are given directly on the floor of the House, whereas unstart are the ones where replies are given in the written form. And our show focuses on the unstart questions.
And Rajat, how are these questions asked and how are these questions answered? Here's a small presentation for our viewers.
A member submits his or her questions at least 15 days before the office of Rajya Sabha chairman. The Rajya Sabha Secretariat chooses the questions to be answered through a draw of ballots. Separate ballots are held for start and unstart questions. The questions are scrutinized for admissibility under the current rules and precedents. Questions are disallowed if they are not in order. Advance copies of chosen questions are sent to ministry or departments concerned. The ministry concerns collect information to prepare the reply. The minister concerned reply to start questions on the floor of the House and provides written answers to unstart questions. Up to 160 unstart questions are listed every day in a separate list.
Well, there you saw a presentation explaining as to how these questions are asked. And Kriti, now it's time to begin our show.
And the first question in this edition is from member RAMAMURTHY, and this question is to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And the member has asked the government about the steps taken to bring down cybercrimes in the country.
Well, thanks, Kriti. It's an important question, and of late we have seen a trend of cybercrime becoming one of the heinous most offence if we take into consideration the crime across the countries. Of course, cybercrime is the one which has a fast spread and extent, of course, is very well known, and of course it can also hamper economies worldwide. That's what even the experts agree. In a reply given by Minister of State for Home Affairs, G. Kishan Reddy, he said, with enhanced use of internet, the number of cybercrimes is also increasing. As per data maintained and published by the NCRB, 21,796 and 27,248 and 44,546 cybercrimes have been registered during the years 2017, 18 and 19 respectively. The motive behind cybercrime in the country include personal revenge, fraud, sexual exploitation, inciting hate, spreading piracy, and stealing information. Police and public order are state subjects as per the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India, and states are primarily responsible for the prevention, detection, investigation, prosecution of crime, including cyber crimes. The law enforcement agency take action as per legal provisions of law against cybercrime offenders. To strengthen the mechanism to deal with the cyber crimes in comprehensive and coordinated manner, the central government has taken steps for spreading awareness about cyber crimes. Issuance of alerts, advisories, capacity building, training of law enforcement personnel, prosecutors, judicial officers, improving cyber forensics facilities and other important steps. The central government has also launched National Cybercrime Reporting Portal to enable citizens to report complaints pertaining to all types of cyber crimes, with special focus on cyber crimes against women and children.
And joining us on the Question Hour show is Rajya Sabha MP, Mr. KC Sir, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So during the first half of the budget session, or the 253rd session of the Rajya Sabha, you'd asked a very important question in today's scenario, which is about controlling cyber crimes in the country. The government has given a comprehensive reply. What is your take, sir?
You know, the reply has been very exhaustive over the years, right from the Information Technology Act 2000 and the amendment later. A lot of efforts have been put in by the government to see that cybercrime is effectively controlled. But however, the menace has been increasing multifold. For example, during this COVID period, it is reported that the incidents have doubled than what it was. So it is a living problem for us. It is a very, very critical area which we need to tackle very, very effectively. And, the priority is dealing with crimes. The other traditional crimes is one side, but this cyber crimes is something which we have to be very technically and as professionally need to be tackled. I was trying to tell that the government has given a very detailed reply, and it has enumerated the steps that are being taken to prevent the spread of these cyber crimes, and they're issuing alerts, and their capacity building activities are going on, and national crime reception portal is there, and so many activities are there in place, and government has been doing its best in this regard, but we can certainly do a lot more.
Also, sir, you've been a renowned IPS officer. And talking about the law enforcement agencies, how do we enhance their capabilities or capacities for controlling such crimes?
I feel the the cyber crimes are being dealt only at a very high level. You have an additional DG dealing with the crimes, or you have an IG dealing with crimes, and the ground level staff, even from the police station level, it's no more an urban problem. It's no more an urban problem. Now you have smartphones in everybody's hand, and everybody got access to everything. So it is a widespread activity. Now we need to see how we will be able to reach even to the constabulary level, in the police station level, and educate him, train him, build a proper capacity in him to handle with these issues. This is no more an act which we can just say, oh, no, we can do it later, we'll do it tomorrow and all that. It is a current issue and a very big problem, and we need to tackle it very effectively and broad-based, maybe even in the police station level, not in the district level, even I'm going to the police station level, where the training programs need to be very, very concentratedly done in the language that even a constable can understand and implement. We like to devise methods, we like to devise means of passing it to that level. As it is, what's happening is now, for example, in Karnataka, we have cyber centers established in some of the places, but it is all in urban centers, some important under the commissionerate or under the SP. But down the line, even the policemen who are on the job, who are responsible for detection of crimes or prevention of crimes, are not fully educated on this.
Any specific suggestion to the government, sir?
Yeah, I very strongly feel that we need to invest more on the prevention of cyber crimes, because the laws that is occurring due to the cyber crimes, it estimated it was around 600 billion in the entire world, and India alone it was 18 billion US dollars. That is the Indian consumer has lost so much of money. So this is the bank frauds. We have seen all that. We have the sexual exploitation that's going on. We have extortion through cyber crimes. We have piracy going on through cyber crimes. All these things, they are no more in the city level. They're no more in the urban level. They are spreading to all the corners. Apart from strengthening the city level networking, we need to see that it goes to the police station level very effectively. Just like earlier, we never used to have a separate. The number of women constables themselves were very, very minimum. The government became very sensitive, and now there are women constables in all the police stations. The number of women constables is also so. Like that, as we got sensitized towards the women and child offences, we need to get sensitized about the cyber offences also. It's a living threat. It's not a superficial one, it's a living threat. So we need to tackle it in broad-based training to all the concerned people. We'll have to get the judiciary trained, we'll have to get the all the law enforcing agencies trained, we'll have to get the prosecutors trained, because we have seen some of the prosecutors or some of the judicial officers are not in a position to understand the technicalities of the cyber crimes. So educating them, bringing them online, bringing them on par with the other professionals is very, very crucial and important.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us and speaking to us, sir.
Now moving on to another question that was asked by member Saroj Pandey from Ministry of Labour and Employment. The member saw details about schemes issued or initiatives taken by the government in terms of the unorganized sector and of course its upliftment.
Well, and this response has been given by Labour and Employment Minister Santosh Kumar Gangwar, and he enumerates several steps taken by the government for the unorganized sectors and for the welfare of the workers. He says that the government is mandated to bring betterment in health facilities and livelihood for workers in the unorganized sector through its various welfare schemes. The government enacted the Unorganized Workers Social Security Act 2008. This act mandates formulation of suitable welfare schemes for unorganized workers on matters relating to life and disability cover, health and maternity benefits, old age protection, any other benefit as may be determined by the central government. Further, the Act also stipulated that the state government may formulate and notify from time to time suitable welfare schemes for unorganized workers, including schemes relating to Provident Fund, employment, injury benefit, housing, educational scheme for children, skill upgradation of workers, funeral assistance, old age homes. The said Act has now been subsumed in the Code on Social Security 2020 with a wider scope of welfare for the unorganized workers, including gig workers and platform workers. The Government of India has launched Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana to provide universal health coverage to the people in the country. The Ministry of Labour and Employment administers the labour welfare schemes for BD, iron ore, manganese ore, chrome ore, limestone and dolomite mine workers, especially with an objective to provide primary healthcare facilities and financial assistance to their wards for education. For old age protection in the form of monthly pension, Ministry of Labour and Employment in 2019 has launched Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan Yojana, which is a voluntary and contributory pension scheme for providing monthly minimum assured pension of 3,000 rupees on attaining the age of 60 years. The unorganized workers in the age group of 80 to 40 years whose monthly income is 15,000 or less and not a member of EPFO, ESIC, NPS or government funded can join the scheme. Under the scheme, 50% monthly contribution is payable by the beneficiary and equal matching contribution is paid by the central government. The life and disability coverage is provided through Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. These schemes are available through banks on an annual premium of Rs 330 and Rs 12 respectively. The benefits under the scheme is Rs 2 lakh given on death due to any cause or Rs 2 lakh on permanent disability or Rs 1 lakh on partial disability and Rs 4 lakh on death due to accident. So those were the steps taken by the government for the workers in the unorganized sector or gig workers. Now let's move on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member Rajpani Patel, and this question is also to the Ministry of Labour and Employment. And the member has asked whether the government is contemplating a national policy for the migrant labourers.
Well, certainly this question becomes important in the wake of plight of the migrant labourers that was seen during the lockdown and subsequently steps taken by the government to address their problems and grievances. In the reply given by Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Santosh Kumar Gangwar, the ministry says, in order to safeguard the interests of migrant workers, the central government had enacted the Interstate Migrant Workmen Regulation of Employment and Condition of Service Act 1979. This act has now been subsumed in Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020. And the code has been notified on 29th of September 2020. The above mentioned code, commonly known as OSH code, provides for decent working conditions, minimum wages, grievance redressal mechanism, protection from abuse and exploitation, enhancement of skills and social security to all category of organized and unorganized workers, including the migrant workers. The code is applicable to every establishment in which 10 or more interstate migrant workers are employed or were employed on any day of the preceding 12 months. To boost employment and livelihood opportunities for migrant workers returning to villages in the wake of COVID-19 outbreak, the Government of India had launched Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan on 20th of June 2020. The Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan involves intensified and focused implementation of 25 target-driven works to provide employment and create infrastructure in rural areas of 116 districts of 6 states with a resource envelope of 50,000 crore. With a total expenditure of 39,293 crore approximately, the Abhiyan has already generated 50 crore 78 lakh 68,671 man-days of employment. Well, that was reply by Ministry of Labour on the steps taken so as to address grievances and requirements of the migrant labourers and workers, especially in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Moving on to next question that was asked by Dr. Sasmit Patra from Ministry of Home Affairs. Well, the members sought if the government has made any assessment of the impact of the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, after the constitutional changes and reorganization of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, the UTs of Jammu and Kashmir and UT of Ladakh, they have been fully integrated to the mainstream of India. And this response has been given by MOS Home Affairs, G. Kishan Reddy. And he says that as a result of all these changes, all the rights enshrined in the Constitution of India and benefits of all the central laws that were being enjoyed by other citizens of the country are now available to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The change has brought about socio-economic development in both the UTs, that is the UT of Jammu and Kashmir and the UT of Ladakh. Empowerment of people, removal of unjust laws, bringing in equity and fairness to those discriminated since ages who are now getting their due, along with comprehensive development, are few of the important changes that are ushering both the new UTs towards the path of peace and progress. For the conduct of elections of Panchayati Raj institutions such as Panchs and Sarpanchs, Block Development Councils and District Development Councils, the three-tier system of grassroots level democracy has now been established in Jammu and Kashmir. So that was a very forward-looking and a positive response given by the government on Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Now let's move on to the next question, which has been asked by member Kirori Lal Meena, and this question is to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And the member has sought details on police reforms and ratio of police personnel per 1,000 persons in India.
A reply to this query was given by MOS Home, G. Kishan Reddy. In a reply, as per data on police organization compiled by Bureau of Police Research and Development, the ratio of police personnel per 1,000 people is 1.95 as per section strength as on 1st of January 2020 and 1.55 as per the actual strength. The organizational structure of police forces varies from country to country, as do the functions and tasks assigned to them. Many countries do not have central armed police force. In addition, the number of policemen required is dependent on several variables like volume of crime, societal structure, use of technology and local problems. There are no universal standards or United Nations recommendations to assess the optimal level of police force in a country. Police reform is an ongoing process. The Honorable Supreme Court in the matter of writ petition titled Prakash Singh and others versus the Union of India and others have given 7 directions with its order on 22nd of September 2006. These directions were to constitute a state security commission in every state, selection of DGP or Director General of Police of state from amongst 3 senior most officers of the force empaneled for promotion to the rank by the UPSC, to prescribe a minimum tenure of 2 years to police officers on operational duties, separate investigating police from law and order police, starting with town urban areas having population of 10 lakhs or more, and gradually extend to smaller towns and urban areas to set up a police establishment board at the state level for deciding all transfers, posting, promotions and other service-related matters of officers of and below the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police, to constitute police complaints authorities at the state and district levels for looking into complaint against police officers, and to set up a National Security Commission. These directions are forwarded to state and union territories for the implementation. Police is a state subject falling in list 2 of the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India. It's primarily the responsibility of the state government and the UT administrations to implement police reforms. The centre also issues advisories to state to bring in requisite reforms in police administration to meet the expectations of the people. Well, moving on to the last question of this edition of the show that was asked by member Anand Sharma from Ministry of Steel. The member saw details about the quantum of steel production, especially in the times of COVID-19. Especially he saw details from March 2020 to December 2020 and what steps has been taken by the government.
Well, the government has taken several steps to boost steel production in the country in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic. These include Ministry of Steel has held several rounds of consultations during the lockdown period with various stakeholders, including industry associations and leaders of domestic steel industry, to address their issues by taking up the same with the concerned ministries or departments of the central government and the state governments. Ministry of Steel also notified a nodal officer in the ministry to receive representations from the steel industry on issues arising out of lockdown for speedy redressal. Guidelines issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs from time to time have facilitated speedy resumption of steel production. The Ministry of Steel has also organized the following webinars with relevant stakeholders to enhance the overall demand for steel in the country. Oil and gas sector, 16 June 2020. Ispat IRDA enhancing steel usage, 30th of June 2020. Housing and civil aviation sector, 18th August 2020. Domestically manufactured iron and steel products policy has been suitably amended, wide notification dated 31st of December 2020 in order to align it into revised public procurement preference to Make in India Order 2017. The minimum value addition has been enhanced from 15% to 20% and the policy is now applicable to all procurement above 5 lakh and includes EPC contracts among other changes. So that's all we had for you in this edition of the Question Hour show. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, stay safe and stay secure. Thanks and goodbye.